Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. It is exactly 9:27 a.m. and yes, we are battling with connectivity this morning, and all we can say is it goes directly to the Lords of Darkness, Eskom. With the rolling blackouts, we know that it has huge impact on obviously our networks as well, connectivity and even clear lines where we can communicate through. Let's try and give it our best shot at 9:28 exactly. We were meant to be having the chairperson and convener of the Eskom Crisis National Conference, Tlati Madela. He was on air a little while ago, but I think we've lost him. Understand that Shirley Ntlonti, the deputy chairperson and convener of Eskom Crisis, the National Conference, is on the one line, and the coordinator of the Eskom Crisis National Conference, Phiko, Adonis, is on the other line. Morning to you two. Welcome to the program. Nice having you here. Let's start with you first. Shirley, how are you? Can you hear me? Shirley, are you there?
I'm here.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Welcome. Please stand by. Let's welcome Phiko to the discussion. How are you, Phiko? Can you hear me?
Very clear. Fine, and how are you, madam?
I'm very good, thank you. And I'd like to say that it's not a moment too soon that this committee has been convened, and the crisis is now finally being addressed. Let me start with you, Shirley. Why do you believe it took this long for people like yourselves to decide civil society has to stand up? We need to do something, because it seems as if nobody else wants to take responsibility for the situation. Shirley?
The reason is that because electricity affects everyone, and the government proposes to solve this issue within 2 years. So we were like, no, this is not on. We need solutions now. We need to act now, because businesses are failing, small businesses are failing, are being affected by this issue.
Okay, Shirley, who is
this organization?
All right, Shirley, you let's understand your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself very quickly, and what you hope to achieve by being part of this group, which calls, which is calling for this hashtag Eskom crisis.
My name is Shirley Ntlonti, and I'm a concerned citizen. As a concerned citizen, we need solutions of how this crisis can be solved by engineers, by all stakeholders who are involved in all of this. So this is why we came up with the organization, to try and solve this and say, government, this is the proposed plan that we have. What can you guys do about it?
Okay, Phiko, welcome back. You are the coordinator. Do you truly believe you're going to have a 2-day conference over this coming weekend? You're going to be unpacking a lot of issues. Let's understand what type of issues are going to be raised, and who the other role players are that are going to be attending this national conference.
Yeah, thank you for your question. A slight correction. The conference was convened this weekend, the 28th of July.
Oh, so it's happened already.
Yes, you are standing with people who are having some very strong resolutions for the conference.
Wow, congratulations, guys. Was it well attended?
Definitely. We had many participants. You will remember we were focusing more on engineers, people who had been in Eskom, and those who are outside Eskom, who now run their own companies, but they have got deep knowledge about the happenings of energy in this country. So we had quite over 10 speakers, and those speakers were including some of them on the second day, the independent advisors to the Minister and the Portfolio Committee of Energy.
Okay, let's look at the plan of action. You've discussed a few stakeholders. Let's understand what came out of the conference. Are you confident that once this is addressed to the powers that be, that we're going to see some form of commitment and resolution to our current crisis? And what is it that you believe has come out of the conference? You know, why are we in the situation that we find ourselves in with Eskom currently? And let me just throw out one or two pointers to you. We've heard things about sabotage. We've heard things about corruption. We've heard things about, uh, you know, uh, corrupt politicians being in the pockets of, of bigwigs at Eskom, etc. So, can you unpack those issues? Were these issues in fact raised? And is the general public spot on when they keep talking sabotage and corruption?
Thank you, Madam. Definitely, we have touched those issues. Remember, at the center of Eskom, there are machines. The provision of electricity to the country is generated by machines, and machines are operated by people. So the problem is between the two, the machine and the people. That's the basics that you need to understand. So you cannot solve the problem without identifying between the two who's not doing his job or who's not performing. It's like you driving your car. As a person, your car will tell you when there are problems, and as a responsible person, you must go take it for maintenance. If you don't have fuel, definitely going to stuck on the road. That meaning there must be interaction between the two. So we have managed to diagnose and to say, yes, the management in Eskom, because are the people. When the one who's supposed to identify this problem, you'll remember energy is supplied to South Africa at a certain capacity. The revelation that we got from the engineers, that for South African population to get energy, you will need about the availability of energy would be around 50 plus. Is it gigawatts? Yeah, I think it's gigawatts. But now we're sitting at 30 plus. You will remember that that energy is provided by the power station that generates. So whenever they were doing diagnosis, there were quite a number of factors. Part of them is maintenance and not expanding the grid, meaning many people are connected to the grid. So whenever you got a load, that's why they are saying they are load shedding. They try to relieve the load. So because of the many connectivity, and now the chief cannot take that. So those were the diagnosis, and the managers are there to come and identify those problems and provide solutions.
Okay, I think the word you were looking for was megawatts, but that as it may. Shirley, would you like to come in? What was the sense that you got regarding the conference? I'm thinking also plan of action. And did you guys touch on the proposed NERSA tariff hikes as well?
From what we gathered with the engineers is that what amount of electricity do we need as South Africans? Who can tell us that we have states, they say they can bring that resources and tell us this is the amount of electricity that we need, and the government should do this and that. And it was also part of the management and the grids. The problems, they are not being maintained, and the managers are not being held accountable. So the solution is to hold everyone accountable so that we can solve this problem.
Okay, I think the one other problem we have, and it's huge, I'm not sure if you guys unpacked it at the conference, is illegal connections throughout the country in all of in informal settlements and in townships. I have no doubt it happens in the suburbs as well. That's a huge factor as well. And then, of course, the issue around the stealing of cables and damaging of infrastructure. What is it that we as concerned citizens can do, must do, and should do to try and educate these people on the ground that don't realize they probably get a couple of $100 and they go and do damage to the infrastructure that runs into millions, if not billions of rands? Is that being addressed? Because that is a crucial problem as well. Phiko, would you like to come in, and then I'll go over to Shirley as well?
Yes, definitely. We had identified that problem, that there is a lot of illegal connectivity and there are damages of infrastructure. But all of that is clustered on the issue of what are the mechanisms and measures that are there to protect our infrastructure and also to monitor the connectivity, because the indicators in any station or in any machine, you can be able to detect bypass lines, those who do not buy electricity. It's a matter of who is responsible for monitoring. That's why I'm always emphasizing that there are people, there are machines. If these two cannot correlate and work properly, something is going to fail. So we cannot at any given time not have to blame, because we must blame. If we blame the machine, therefore the people are also involved, because they were supposed to take care of those machines. So we also dealt with that. So on the basis of my engagement, that when we identify a problem, we know that is the relationship between the machines and the people.
Okay, unpaid debt by Soweto, for example, it runs into the billions. That money could have been used to procure diesel or whatever it is, or to fix infrastructure. That's also an issue that needed to be addressed. Shirley, let's come to you, and perhaps you can talk to us about unemployed people. And, in a sense, you can't blame them. It's not justified, but you can't blame them. They're hungry. They need to put food on the table. And if somebody offers them a couple of R100 to go and steal cables or copper wires, they're going to do it because they can't find jobs and they are starving. How do we address that? Is a huge issue. How are we going to address that? If we don't address it, it's going to be an ongoing problem. Shirley.
Salami, this is why we want the government to come to the communities and be part of the community building to see these kind of problems, be active. Yes, we do have a government, but we need them to be more active in our youth and in how we can go forward as a country.
It is a huge problem. Did we come up with any suggestions at the conference? The issues that I've raised. Phiko,
Yes,
it
the
might
issues.
not.
Yes,
Yes,
no,
Shirley, go ahead.
No, you can give it to people.
Phiko, it may not be the number one problem, but it very definitely exacerbates the situation, does it not? We just came across a report over the weekend. I think this happened on Friday, outside of a police station in Reiger Park on the East Rand, where a whole lot of civilians were digging up cabling right outside of the police station, and they stole all the cables, and nobody at all had the sense to ask them if they are in fact legitimate city of Ekurhuleni or whatever municipality they fall under, if they are legit council workers. It's happening directly under our noses. It is a huge part of the problem, is it not? How are we going to address this?
Thank you. Let me first address the first question of the Soweto and other residents. The provision of the solution there is that everyone must put on prepaid, because the basis of the way they got electricity there, it was through meter in terms of being billed by the municipality. So it's easier not people not to go and pay, and they cannot take responsibility, but they would want it. But everyone will take. Then you can be able to check what of buying and the off or are buying it. That's the first one. The second one that you have just asked on the
Phiko, can you just move around? We're losing you. If you could just move around so we can hear you more clearly. I'm so sorry about this.
okay. So I was saying the second issue of being sorry, the cables that are being stolen just in front of the community people, in front of police during daylight. It's an indictment of our country and the state of affairs. It tells us that our state has been collapsed because there is lawlessness, and once you only have structures to deal with lawlessness, police were supposed to be patrolling around. It is embarrassing what I saw on the video, where people would be digging cables right in front of the police. So that will tell you that our state, under this current government, there is a lack in terms of decisive leadership and act on criminality. So it's a governmental issue. So that needs society to stand up on and say, we can't tolerate. Hence, we also, as said, if electricity is not available, let's stand up and try to solve the problem. Unfortunately, as humans, we cannot all of us concentrate to one problem. But as society, we need to identify this thing and raise the alarm. Ultimately, the government must do something.
Okay. Regarding the approach on the NERSA tariff hikes, who would like to respond to that? Was there any resolution on that issue? Phiko, are you taking this question or Shirley?
No, yes, I can. If Shirley is there, she can take it.
Shirley, would you like to respond?
No, you can take it.
Okay. Phiko, she's giving you all the difficult questions. Okay, so what came of that regarding the NERSA tariff hikes?
Amongst us, we had some organizations that are preparing for the march on the 2nd. I think you are aware of the Stand Up South Africa that is having a march on the 2nd.
Yes, yes.
Their main objective is to highlight exactly that hike of approved NERSA tariff. So they were part of us, and they had presentation, and we share the same sentiment that there is no basis whatsoever to allow increase on something that is not there. So even this one that the Eskom is charging, it's even expensive looking at the growth of the economy and the unemployment. So it's definitely a no from the conference, because we are partners with those who will be marching against that tariff hike.
Okay, so in terms of the plan going forward, there's going to be a march. What else is going to happen to get politicians and Eskom to be accountable, to give concrete answers as to how the situation is going to be resolved and how soon? We've been given a 2-year period, but I'm not sure if we can trust these people any longer, if we can trust what they're saying.
That's the reason we were gathering, because we said we've been waiting under a dark tunnel, hoping to see the light in terms of time frame, because we are saying we can't be subjected into waiting for something that you don't know when it's going to be resolved. You are just getting the messages of motivation that we will overcome. We then said our resolution must craft a document that is precisely is going to be presented to South Africans within 2 weeks, and that is going to be presented to government to influence. Then the objective of that document is to precisely show that we can give government 6 months to solve this problem. Because there were ideas and the commonalities of the engineers where they presented that this could overcome by hiring or purchasing a car power ship and put it as the additional power, whilst you are going to take out some stations, overhaul them. In the meantime, you are on that temporary arrangement. And after 6 months, you can be able to guarantee power. And we are not going to do away with coal, because in South Africa we have over 8 or 9 mining coal mines. So there is a precisely a direction on our conference. What we need to do now within these 2 weeks, collaborate those presentations into one document. And then we rally South Africans behind that document, and also we present it to government so that we can influence government.
Okay, my final 2 questions, and we'll wrap up. The first question being, you spoke about prepaid electricity. Isn't that also open to abuse? You're saying the solution to illegal connections would be prepaid electricity. I'm kind of thinking the guys who do want to jippo the system will find a way of jippoing that system as well. Question number 1. Question number 2, regarding the car power ships, electricity from car power ships from the Turkish from Turkey. There was a lot of pushback a couple of months ago regarding that proposal, because civil society and certain sectors of the community were suggesting that there are crooked politicians involved in that deal, and they're going to be making big bucks out of that deal. So there was a lot of pushback to that situation. And now are you saying that we are agreeing that we'll rather take that as a stopgap, and once that has served our purposes, we can always end that contract? But my understanding also is that it is a 20-year contract. So where do we stand on those 2 issues?
The first issue of tracking and monitoring people bypass, that system is available. As I always mentioned on the basis of my engagement, that when you deal with machines, you'll also deal with human capital, which is a human resource. People who bypass, they are monitored through a system. Even the municipality can track that. Who is not buying electricity? You growing random checks community, and also the system check, and you know how many lines are connected. So that one is just that, I can say, laziness from government, or somebody will not do their job. The second question on the issue of the deal for car power ships, that problem or that argument that civil society are taking to court, we cannot debate it on the basis that there are people who will score money. That is a separate debate. But the fundamental question is, are these power ships are going to assist us? If yes, then the second question to say, how do we manage procurement? Because at the end of the day, there must not be hands of crooked people in that. Then we can discuss along those lines. But we cannot compromise a solution because fearing people who might mess up. Because the extent of load shedding is far much going beyond and killing the economy. Because people are losing jobs, businesses are closing. It's a more of a cost to government and to its citizens. So rather, we have that plan of car power ships in place with proper procurement that is not going to be infiltrated by corrupt people.
Point taken, Phiko, Adonis. When are you guys going to be talking with us again to give us some concrete feedback to say that this is in fact starting to take shape? Will it be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months time? Do we talk again for you to give us feedback?
Now we're looking at after 2 weeks, because
2 weeks,
from now,
brilliant.
yes,
Okay. We'll diarize a chat with you in 2 weeks' time. Shirley, anything in closing you'd like to share with us?
We thank everyone.
Shirley?
We can send. Hello?
Yes, anything in closing you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I would like to thank everyone that came to the conference and those who contributed. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for hosting us.
Thank you. We salute people like yourselves that go out, you're action orientated, you want to see a change in South Africa. God bless and God keep you safe. Phiko, Adonis, wonderful talking to you. We'll hook up again in 2 weeks' time for some feedback from your side. Is that okay?
thank you very much. That is welcome from our side.
Wonderful. God bless. Go well. It is exactly 9:54 a.m. News and views on Salam Media, and I do hope and pray that our final guest is standing by to talk with us, and that is none other than social activist Imran Muqaddam.